Welcome back to Pipe and Tobacco Talk. It's episode 53, and by popular demand, we have bought Reid Robertson and Richard Epley from EP Pipes back onto the show. But Tim, before we get rolling, it's time to read the mbsdpipes.com warning sticker.
I'm not going to read it. I've got it memorized. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Warning. This podcast will expose the listener to ugly, insensitive, disturbing, off-putting, and otherwise socially unacceptable content known to the state of California to cause cancer. If you have any sense, turn this off right now. That's it.
Okay. Well, there we go, Tim. We're off and running. We'd say that it causes cancer. We'd say that it causes cancer in California, but currently California's on fire like nothing I've ever seen. So
I thought there was a grow a pear part in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, we recommend that you grow a pear. Yeah. I would just run. Just shake the dust from your feet and run.
The state of California is causing cancer everywhere right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There was about a year ago, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about a fireman, because he lived in Los Angeles then. He's since moved to Texas. And a fireman told him that one day the wind's just going to be right, and it's going to burn everything there. And that's what happened. He said everything all the way to the ocean.
People were saying they've had, in California, they've had, really good, really 2 years of rain. And so everything there has grown up like crazy. And then they haven't had any rain since, May. And so everything is kindling right now, basically.
Yeah. Well, in the state of California, I don't think they do anything to manage underbrush. Nothing.
Mm-mm. No.
New Mexico does a good job of that. Does a really good job of that.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, my dad and I had this conversation the other day, and I pointed out that if you don't manage the forest, nature will manage your forest, and sometimes nature burns everything. And
where else are you supposed to pour your motor oil after you change your oil? I was always told to pour it along the fence line. If you pour it along your fence line, it takes care of weeds. That's what my grandfather told me.
Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
For a few hundred years.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it back where you found it.
Exactly. Yeah. It just gets pumped back out later. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah.
And by the way, Dan Rees, thank you so much. Both Tim and I are wearing our Ohio Briar hats tonight. So well done, Dan. I like this one for the podcast because it fits perfectly with my headset, and I like the way it looks, and it's cool. So,
I haven't got
good
one
hat.
of those.
Yeah.
I need to talk to Dan at Muletown.
Yeah, I got to spend the last 3 days of my life in Miami, driving in Miami traffic.
Oh God!
Big city traffic is kind of the same everywhere. There's the lunatics. And in Miami, there's a lot more of them. But I did see 9 Ferraris and Lamborghinis while I was tooling around in the general vicinity of Miami. And I thought that was...
Oh, that fentanyl money.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful place in the world. The scenery's spectacular. And it's entirely populated by great people until they get into their cars. And then there's this mania that takes over them. It's like, I've got, 3 millimeters. I'm going to go ahead and slide in front of you. All right, cool.
Is everything, all the intersections roundabouts now in Miami?
No. Miami has not figured out how to do roundabouts, and I am thankful for that because they couldn't drive on straight roads. You introduce a circle into the whole thing, and nobody can get anywhere.
They are here, and there's always the one redneck that ends up just around the inner circle, Chevy Chase on the family vacation.
Can't get out.
Yeah, just can't get out.
Hey, look, it's Big Ben.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Big Ben.
There's always the one pickup truck in the center of town just going in circles.
Right.
I can't figure out how to manipulate the center circle around the courthouse.
That's a great
there.
scene.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Big Ben.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, look,
geez.
it's the Bardstown Courthouse. Oh, look, it's the Bardstown Courthouse.
Yeah, exactly. So no, there were not an abundance of roundabouts. Just really fast driving at scary close intervals. It was kind of like somebody was qualifying for NASCAR without actually being in the race. So it's fun.
Oh man.
And by the way, it is freezing here today. It was 45. I'm pissed. This is not the
shut
Florida
up.
weather I signed
Oh
up for.
man.
Shut up.
Poor
Shut
guy.
I'm going to
Poor
be
guy.
PG.
Reid, don't
I'm
even
not
start,
saying
man.
anything right
No,
now.
it was
I'm
snowing
gonna be
this
PG.
morning
Yeah.
when I woke up. It was snowing here.
All right.
So, yeah.
Our high today was like 20.
Our
Yeah.
high today was like 30, I think. So, yeah.
Got 300 pounds
It
on
was,
top of my van, 300 pounds of ice. I can't hardly drive my van. So weighed down with ice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well-
It's going to keep up too. So
Yeah.
Where's this global
we-
warming they keep talking about?
send it.
It's climate change, Rich. It's climate change. It's not global warming.
I
Right.
don't care what it is. I just don't want any of this snow and ice.
I want to go back to global warming, please.
Yeah, let's go back.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. More fossil fuels, please. Less
Yeah,
recycling.
change it to warm.
Let's get the temperature up. I'm tired of snow and ice.
I'd just be happy if they'd stop this whole daylight savings time bullshit. Like, just
Yeah,
cut it out.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
just cut that out. God, I hate that.
So I have a theory on daylight savings time, and only a Frenchman would believe that if you cut 2 inches off the top of the blanket and sewed it to the bottom of the blanket, you're going to have a longer blanket. No, there's still the same amount of daylight regardless of what you change the clock to. And I'm really excited that 18th century farm children get the benefits of us being in daylight savings time.
Yeah. Thank you for messing up my sleep cycle. Thank you.
Yeah, really. Yeah, let's do away with that. Just be done with it. We know what time it is. You know what time it is. Leave
I
us
didn't mean this
alone.
was so serious. I mean, it's just an offhanded comment.
No,
really.
it does. Yeah. No.
Things are getting violent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
well,
I
my
know.
dad, the 13 years I lived, the 13 years I lived in Arizona were the best of my life because you know when you change the clocks in Arizona, they never change. Didn't have to reset the microwave once for 13
Well, that's
years.
all right because we'll go to Muletown and I'll be an hour behind the whole time I'm there. So,
I'll be 2 hours behind.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'll show up late. And, it'll be good.
It'll be fine. Well, anyway, you guys were having an excellent conversation. So we are in a chat that we text each other in a group. And that's why we brought Reid and Rich back on. And it was really interesting. You were talking about mortises. I mean, let's talk about pipe making. I've got 3 pipe makers here, and I'll just sit back and have some popcorn and watch.
Well, first of all, your characterization of conversation between the three of us as being excellent. Come on, Jim.
True.
Yeah.
That is true.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
we have our moments, but it's mainly just a lot of just not safe for work humor.
No, it's, and my boss goes, hey, why don't you put, your, so you only have to carry one computer. Why don't you put your home email on your laptop? I said, because I have friends that would write me an email that, it would show up on the screen when I'm presenting somewhere. It says, hey, dickhead, you forgot to do this. And I really don't want that to show up in a work event. No, my friends are lunatics.
Or it could get worse than that. Actually.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was
been
trying
way
to be
worse,
polite.
It's like the the PowerPoint presentation comes on and you go, ladies and gentlemen, oh, titties.
Oh, wow. That's not supposed to be on my computer.
Let's begin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my daughter. Oh, she's a naughty girl.
Oh God!
Yeah.
What a jokester.
What
a jokester.
Pay no attention to my algorithm. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really don't search
Look at my
that.
computer.
I
Yeah.
do not search that in my spare time. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why my medical alert bracelet says clear my browser history. That's
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
most of
anyway,
the
here. No, go ahead, Jim.
No, like I said, it was interesting. You guys were talking about tools and what you use to do this, and I don't understand the intricacies of it. So, I think you're talking about doing metal caps like army
Yeah.
mounts.
Well, Tim should start with his new toy.
I got a new toy, and it's not the rubber appendage
No,
named
no,
Andy.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Nope.
I'm
Nope.
not. Nope, 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 nope. Stop
I don't
it.
know what you're
Stop
talking
it right.
about. What are
Not.
you talking
Nope.
about?
It was from Toy Story.
No, it
Anyway.
wasn't. No. Yeah. We're gonna get a letter
Anyway,
from Disney.
anyway.
No.
Tim has moved into the new millennium now. Come on, man.
Oh
He's a new
man.
millennium person now.
So everybody's been telling me, what are you doing working with that stone axe? That wood lathe. You got to get yourself a metal lathe. And I don't know anything. I don't know anything about metal lathes. And our friend Premel, he's been trying to drill it into my head. You got to get it. When are you going to get your metal lathe? And so to me, metal lathe was like, all right, go on Craigslist and look at this and look at that, pictures and that kind of thing. And okay, I'm going to have to drive 2.5 hours, figure out if this thing works, go and look at a thing that I had known nothing about. And so yesterday in the afternoon, Craig Herzog sent me a link. It was a Facebook marketplace link, and it had a metal lathe on it for sale for $950. And so I went on and I looked at it. I sent a picture to Rich, and he happens to have the same doggone thing, essentially. And I sent it to Premel. And anyway, this guy is like 20 minutes from me. And I went over there today, and this guy he's a retired guy. He was worked at a GM car manufacturing plant, and he was one of the maintenance guys that took care of all the robots and all this stuff like that. And since he retired, he's got this kick-ass shop. It's got the probably 15-foot ceilings in it. He's got a couple of he's got a jib crane and an overhead that spans the whole shop floor crane. He's got Bridgeport Milling Center. He's got like that he'd restored, and then he's got a bunch of other equipment, like newer stuff. And all he does is tinker. He makes parts and stuff like that. And I said, do you like you're working or? He goes, no, I'm just playing around. This place was like the Taj Mahal of tools. And so he had this lathe, and he's had it for decades. And man, the thing was just like very well maintained. And he took a mirror out and held it underneath so I could see the gears underneath. And look, everything's clean. All the gear teeth are there. There's and he showed me how to run it. And the guy even gave me so it was $950, and I said, well, I want to buy it. And he says, I said $950, right? He goes, He goes, you haven't beat me up. He goes, $900. How's that? I'm like, all right. So anyway, I got this Atlas. It's a 42-inch bed, 12-inch.
42 inches. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of big, but it's got the oh heck, I can't think of what it's. What did I tell you it was, Rich? The
12 by 48, and you
well,
got
42,
change to a
but
post or something.
yeah, it's got the quick change on it. Yeah, where you can run it forward and back. Yeah, and then it's just it's in great shape. So anyway, it's in my
Tim's
truck.
going to clean his office while we're on air this time.
All 500 pounds of it is in my in the bed of the truck. So I have.
Well, that's
to
what grandkids are
figure
for.
out
Why didn't they come over?
how I'm going to get it out of there. Well, he had a crane, and he was able to
Yeah,
get up
but
underneath it. And,
Ben, if you're
Drop it
listening,
in.
get over there, Ben, if you're listening.
yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I got to figure that out. So I'll be getting rid of the jet wood lathe, and I'll be going to a metal lathe now. And so,
Tim has joined the dark
Mitchell,
side.
if you're listening, no more gaps.
Yeah.
It's a world
Okay.
of difference, man. It's insane.
Like I
So
say, you'll
what's the-
never go back.
Yeah, what's the? I mean, Rich, you and Reid both use metal lathes.
Yes,
Yeah, and I started on a wood lathe like Tim does,
I did.
and I did wood turning and stuff like that, and it's just the difference of being able to put a tool exactly where you want it, no question. That's where it's going to go. To putting your hand in there while the
hope-
shank is
yeah.
spinning at 1,000 RPMs right next to you,
Yeah.
and you're trying to shape it by hand. It's like, it's way more scary and
I mean, you
difficult.
get it within a hair now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, Jim, when I put a like an adornment on the shank, on the shank itself, I'll cut a tenon, say like a 1/2 inch tenon, that the cap is going to slide over it, and so you cut it, stop it, put the calipers on, keep going, bit by bit until you work it down to a 1/2 inch, and that's assuming that you don't overcut it because it's by hand. And if you overcut it, well, that's it for that one. And now I'm working with a different size, and so you have to. It's just a lot of work to get to do what I'm trying to do. Where with a metal lathe, you've got it's a tool post with an XY axis movement of the tool. So you can dial in the tool to whatever diameter you want from 0, and move it. It'll move on its own. And it'll cut, and you don't have to use your hands. The machine does the work.
Yeah.
And then for facing, you can get something that's exactly perpendicular to to the 0 axis. So
It
what
was
I
an
do
older
now
machine, wasn't it? What year was it? Did he tell you?
it's an Atlas. It was before Sears.
Okay, so it was before Craftsman took them.
Before
mine's
Craftsman took it over.
Mine's a Craftsman. Mine's like early '60s, I think.
Yeah, this is a 40s, 1940s.
So you
I wish I had
you
found.
get no DRO or anything with it. Does yours run on the DRO? Reid?
I could have gotten it, but I mean, it's nice to have, but I don't think it's 100% necessary. I mean, if you're
I just
trying to
bought
do like
one.
you're trying to do like production pipes where you're like making
Yeah.
the same 20 pipes in a row,
Uh-huh.
then a DRO is just it's a digital readout on your
Yeah.
lathe, and so you
Allows
can
you
like
to zero where you're at. Yeah.
you can like set your
Yeah.
lathe up so you can drill the exact same pipe just over and over and over again. There's no changing anything. It just kind of everything's set up, everything's ready to go, and so it's just there's no
Or you
measuring.
can move your point and then set that at 0. So every time you go, you're hitting the
Yeah.
same spot. But
Right.
I bought an aftermarket. It should be here next week off Amazon.
Oh, really? You do?
Well,
Okay.
it's an aftermarket and it's magnetic, so I can cut it whatever length I want. It's like $400
Wow.
Huh.
to attach to an older lathe like that.
Nice.
Huh.
So that way, at least I can stop putting electrical tape on the slide, so that I'm stopping at the electrical tape.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this time
I
can
suppose
actually
that's what
set
I'll be
0.
doing is,
I can set 0
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharpie marks,
Yeah, I can quit
Yeah.
all that and just actually set it to 0 now.
Well,
So
do you guys
I
have-
figured it
do you
was
guys-
worth it.
Do you guys know the little Dremel tool polishing disc things that come with the Dremel tool, like the little miniature? The miniature like,
Yeah.
buffing discs that come on them.
Yeah.
Come with them.
Yeah. Right.
I use those in my drill bits as stoppers. You can move them up and down the drill bit.
Oh, yeah, that's a
now
good
I use
idea.
blue tape. I do use the blue tape for my depth settings.
Yeah, but then you got to use tape
Yeah.
over and over again. You can just do that, have the little thing. You can just move it wherever you want. You can have it forever.
I kind of drill everything the same. When it comes to my tenons, they're all the same depth, or everything's the same.
Yeah.
The airways are the only
Well,
thing
see-
that change due to the block. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing with this is I can cut integral tenons.
Mhm.
yeah. When I
there's
use
a
the
lot
same
of
tenon size on every pipe. Every pipe I
Yeah.
use the same tenon. I don't change.
Right.
Now there's some I have to do military mount where somebody wants a pencil shank and I might have to do a 1/4 inch. But for the most part, I just stick with 5/16. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So if somebody
Right.
says I got a
Right.
bad stem, I can make a stem and just send out a stem. They don't have to send me the whole pipe.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Exactly.
interchange stems.
And and you can make stem blanks.
Yeah.
If you're using the same tenon size every
Yeah,
time.
especially since I'm pouring rods and things like that, it's just easier. But I'll at least be able to set this DRO for my tenons and just hit that same mark every time, not have to eyeball that 5/16 the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm hoping it's going to make
$400,
things.
huh?
Yeah, I'm hoping
Yeah,
it'll make things a little
I have to
easier.
figure out how to use mine first. Well, I got to get
I'm
out
still
of the truck
learning.
first.
I mean, you're always learning. So
Yeah, I didn't know anything
Yeah.
about mill lathes, and actually that's why I didn't get an older lathe. I really wanted to get an older lathe.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Reid froze up.
yeah, it
Yeah.
froze
Well,
up.
he could still be talking and recording. We're just not getting any of the benefit of it. So,
At least he's still wearing the sweet
Which is
headphones.
fine with me.
oh,
He's still wearing the sweet headphones, though.
yeah. Those are. I'm thinking about like getting
could
the
look at
little
that picture all
tack
day.
on lights. Just
Yeah.
put lights around.
That's what I'm saying.
My
If he had those
earpieces.
straight sunglasses like they do on
I know.
on Star Trek,
Like Tron.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
Tron. Yeah.
I'd wear those everywhere.
Oh,
No,
he's
the
bugged
guy's
out.
gone.
He'll come back in.
Yeah, he don't like
He'll be
us.
back in a minute.
Yeah, he don't like us.
He uses all that bandwidth up just to run those headphones.
The lights on them. Yeah, man, these picayunes are strong. Wow,
What do you got?
it's a picayune, perique,
Yeah.
full
Oh,
perique.
okay.
Man, it's
Uh-huh.
All
about
right.
a nicotine hit.
Well, I have no idea what Reid was going to say about his DRO, digital optimal readout or whatever.
I mean, you don't need it. You can eyeball everything. I just kind of want to take away from the extra step of having to tape and mark and
Yeah, right.
do whatever.
So how
I'm
does
just-
that integrate with your lathe then?
Well, you just have to mount it to the backside so that your X and Y slides read on these magnets. And then when you
Okay.
set it and stop it,
all right.
when you stop it at a point, like say you want to gauge, I only want to come the shank this close to the bowl. You set your
Yeah.
bit there, and then you push hit, and it'll make that point 0. You can make the 0 point wherever you want. And then
Oh,
you just move to 0. You go negative or positive to 0.
okay.
That way I don't have to eyeball it or Sharpie the block where I want to stop or pencil the block. Or
Well, you'll have it dialed in, so when we come down, you'll have to show
when
me
you
how
come
it
down, I
works.
should have it up and running where you can see
Yeah,
what all
Yeah.
it does. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm hoping to anyway. I'm sure I'm going to have to fabricate a lot of brackets and things to make it work. But just because the lathe's so old, it's not built for. I mean,
Yeah, right.
my lathe is one you could have went on the Sears catalog and ordered to your home.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, it's just like I can't believe I got a metal lathe for $900.
Well, I love the older stuff like that.
You know?
I mean, I would love to have. I looked at one, and it was expensive. Some guy in New York had it before I bought this one. I'm going to say it was from the 20s. It's completely refurbished, looked brand new. I would have loved to have had something from the 20s, 30s.
Yeah. Here comes Reid.
And
There he
Reid's coming back. His computer died.
He's-
Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming, everybody. Great show. We'll see you next week.
I say the
He's
headphones
like-
drain this
Reid's like-
battery like nobody's business. It's just
I know. They draw a lot of current. Would you go out and get a car battery?
it's actually
and
like
hook it up to
real
it?
current flowing through my headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The wire off of them runs back to a solar panel.
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you also get some?
Well, you were talking about your DRO before you.
No, I don't have a DRO. I was saying that I wish I had gotten a older lathe. I wish I had the confidence to buy an older lathe because I would have liked to have had that more, but I don't have the confidence to. If it's not in good shape, like I think you got a great deal, Tim, on a plate that's in really good shape. But most of the time, when you go look at a lathe that's like 70 to 80 years old, it's not going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's all like caked with grease and dirt and everything.
But like I
You
say,
know what
but
I
if
mean?
it's been refurbished, like the one I found from the 20s, the guy wanted like $3,000.
Right.
He had,
Yeah,
he had
exactly.
repainted it. It looked like, you know, it came off the show.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's beautiful.
But
Museum
mine, I probably paid right about what you did, Tim. Got the cabinet, all the tooling, everything for it. So
Yeah.
it took me 2.5 years to find it. But, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've been sort of looking, you know, not putting a lot of. It just seemed like a kind of a failed effort, you know, because I don't know any, like, again, I don't know anything about it, and I'm looking and you know.
I figured it'll happen.
Well,
happen.
That's why I bought the one that I bought. I bought a Precision Matthews, like a brand new Precision Matthews 10x22 metal lathe, because I just didn't want to spend 2.5 years looking for a lathe. Like, man, I'm just not going to do that.
It took me forever.
Yeah.
I made pipes with a drill press for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Like, you talk about a headache.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah. It's like I went full
nothing
Amish.
like turning wood at 400 RPM.
No. I mean, I was an Amish pipe maker for a while, you know.
Right.
So.
Emil Yoder pipe. Yeah,
exactly.
Jeez.
I've always wanted to be an Amish electrician, though. I figured that would be pretty
You used to be cutting the, you know, turning the pipe on the drill press, and then you would run the opposite direction around the drill press.
I had to pedal the
increase
bike.
the RPMs.
Well, you had to pedal faster. You just had to pedal faster.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
That's worse than Roy Underhill.
Like-
Roy Underhill would be impressed by that.
It's like the old scroll saws where you had to pedal the scroll saw and it worked.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
I
that.
just
Like we
shocked
had
the
seventh
squirrel.
grade shop. Yeah, stuff we had in seventh grade shop. You know.
I watched this video on a guy who actually did this wood turning. He turned bowls in some village, and he had to use his feet to turn the lathe.
Yeah.
And I was like,
manual lathe.
Yeah.
he said it took him like 7 years to master, like just to get it
It's
where
crazy.
he can make anything.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he was working on a bowl. He's been working on the same bowl
For 7 years. We're working on the same damn bowl. It's still a block of wood. But he's still working on it.
This bowl is $2.5 million.
Like,
Good lord.
I finally got it round. It only took 7 years.
that bowl's in a square. Yeah.
Buddy,
Now I got to hollow out the inside.
you could have used your teeth and gotten it faster than that.
Yeah, I've seen woodchucks work faster.
Oh, man.
Good lord.
There was we were in Williamsburg, and they had a metal shop there, and there was a couple of guys. They were making muskets,
Oh, wow.
and this guy was forging a barrel. And I stood there and watched him for a long time forging a barrel.
Crazy.
You would talk about tedious, arduous, hot work.
Man.
You know.
Yeah.
So when he's all said and done, he's got this piece of steel. It's this bigger, this big around on the outside, and it has kind of a hole through the center of it. But he's finally got it welded, the seam welded. And they had this this ream that they, the thing was probably, I bet you it was 15 feet long.
Jesus.
And it had a big flywheel on it.
My gosh.
And it had a wooden carriage. And they would clamp this barrel down in there, and they would get that flywheel going. There was a piece of wrought iron in that, sticking out of through the center of that flywheel. And they would use that to ream that barrel out.
Wow.
And I said, well, and so
but that was a pleasant
guy,
sound.
Oh my God! Yeah, one guy turning the flywheel, and the other guy had that barrel on that carriage. And little by little, put it in, pull it out, put it in, pull it out. And just little by little doing it. I said, "You ever get it stuck in there?" He goes, "Yeah." You got to you take the whole thing apart.
And the other one's screaming, "Yes, call me daddy."
Yeah. Right.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
There are so many landmines in this entire conversation. It's unreal. All right.
I know. As I was telling it, I was like, these guys, I'm feeding you guys belt high fastballs all through that conversation.
I'm biting my tongue. Trust me.
Knock them out.
Oh,
Trust me, I'm
man.
biting my tongue. That's I'm just.
All right.
I'm trying to remain
So,
good.
oh man, jeez. We were discussing, Jim. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't be getting a call from HR. If they do, have them call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, call Tim. Yeah, Tim will take care.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Yeah. Nothing to worry about here.
It'll be just fine. Right.
Well, while you guys are talking, I'm going to be on Resume Wizard. Just
Goodness gracious.
Right.
It's all right. You live in Florida. You won't have to panhandle in the cold. It'll be okay.
yeah, exactly.
That's the good part about it. When you stand by Costco with the
You got to
sign.
look at the bright side. Look at the bright side. I mean, there's plenty of cardboard around, and at the off ramp, you'll be warm.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
honey, I found us a new place under this bridge. It's awesome.
Had a podcast. Now I have no job. Need help. Yeah. It'll work out great.
Well, one of the things we were talking about as well was making bamboo pipes, and that's why I think one of the metal lathe discussion came up is because we were like, both Rich and I'm not sure, Rich, if you've seen how Tim makes bamboo pipes, but I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing this, but that's crazy. Without a metal
I only
lathe.
work with it. I only work with bamboo if I'm forced to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I had a bunch. Like I've got one out there that I'm working on now. And,
Well, let me explain really fast. Actually, let me explain why it's so impossible to do without a precision of a metal lathe, so people out there understand.
Well, I'd like to know how you do it with a metal lathe.
Well,
because I can't picture it.
I can help you with that. But anyway, the reason why it's so impossible to think about is because you have to have perfectly flush matches between the pipe stumble, the ring of ebonite, if you use one, then the piece of bamboo, then another ring of ebonite. Every one of those pieces has to be tightly put together so there's zero gaps between anything. And I don't understand how you could do that by hand, like without a metal lathe. That just is like insane to me. I have no clue how you do that.
you can face everything to where it's flush throughout. I mean, you're talking about multiple surfaces now, not just two surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll ease it up a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you face a piece of, piece of bamboo that's got a curl in it? It's got an arc to it.
You just put it on a
How
pin
do you
gauge.
face that?
Yeah. Or you can use a mandrel.
So you're gonna drill it out, obviously, before you do anything.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna use a pin gauge to put inside the airway hole that you drilled into the bamboo, and stick it in your chuck. Stick it in the chuck of your. But you're gonna have to figure out tooling. Like a lot of pipe makers, like myself, actually, I made my own tools from high speed steel to accommodate certain cuts I have to do with a metal lathe.
Sometimes
So what are you doing? You're facing across it up to the pin gauge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's perpendicular right there.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
But you got to be able to cut in both directions too.
Yeah.
From the headstock to the tail, or from the tail to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Cut each way.
Yeah.
But you can make a mandrel. If it's straight enough, you can use a mandrel inside of the whole piece and turn both ends. I use knitting needles. Get thin knitting.
Andrea's
needles.
like, where the hell are my knitting needles?
No, I buy them. I buy them on purpose.
Oh, do you?
It looks really weird at Walmart, but I buy them on purpose. But yeah, and then I cut that little end off of it, and I can chuck it up in the lathe and put it. The end you cut off will be hollow. You can put it in your, in your live center.
Okay.
A little. So yeah, I'll use knitting needles.
Yeah.
All right.
More than one way to skin a cat. Always.
I know that I'm a heretic in the pipe community. I hate bamboo. I don't like bamboo at all.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just use it if I'm forced to.
Yeah, it's not.
It's more of
I gotta screw it up.
It's honestly,
Yeah,
it's more of a flex for a pipe maker than anything else. It's not really for me anyway. I don't believe it's something that pipe makers do because they enjoy it or because they particularly like bamboo pipes. It's one of those things you do because hey, check out this shit. I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, it's that, or like, oh crap, there's a lot of sand pits in this shank, so
Yeah.
I need to cut
Yeah.
it down
Yeah.
and remove
Or you
sand
just have
pits or flaws
Yeah.
or it's more
Or
of an
just a small
adaptation.
block, you
It's
know?
more of trying to problem solve on the fly than
Mhm.
I'm making a
Right.
bamboo
Yeah.
pipe. I've never purposely
Right.
set out to make a
Right. Every bamboo pipe I've ever made, just like Rich and Tim probably, has been a pipe that's gotten messed up because the shank was bad, or I, made a mistake and had to saw off the bowl. So, yeah.
Or you've had too much bourbon and you just shaped it down too small and sanded a hole right in the airway,
Yep.
Stuff like that. Now, there's a lot of pipes actually, when I'm shaping on the wheel, I will actually shape and sand into the airway and get rid of part of the airway.
Okay.
And then
so
I'll
I
run
believe
a piece of
the
brass
technical.
tubing through it, or I'll do something just to be different.
Yeah. Now I believe when you
I
sand
do
into the
purposely
airway,
do a lot of that.
that would be considered over sanding.
No, sometimes I do
sand-
it on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do it purposely. I've purposely taken a pipe that was scratch free and thought, no, this would look better with a lot of scratches on it, so I'll take a wire wheel to it.
So
I've purposely done
tie it
stuff
to a
like
string and drag it behind the car.
that. Yeah, I've purposely done stuff like that. Like, this looks too good, I think I'm going to set it on fire and see what happens. I really have. I honestly have, because it's, to me, there's no rules. I know everybody says there's rules in the pipe making world, but I think mechanically there are. But aesthetically, I mean, if you can beat it to death with a hammer and it looks good, why not do it? I'm kind of, who says you can't do it? It's kind of my view of things.
Now I
really eschew the rules thing myself.
Mm-hmm.
I
do too.
Sort of the you only make smooth pipes out of straight grain briar. I'm like, fuck that. If I see a pipe that's got like a lot of swirly grain, that kind of thing, I'm going to
go with what I'm
contrast
feeling.
diet and enjoy that.
Yeah, I go with what I'm feeling
variation.
that day I'm shaping, or that day I'm doing something. And there's been plenty of pipes I've made, and I've looked at them before, like when you get the rough shape, and I'm like, wow, this is like everything's square, everything's straight, I've got to do something to this. Like, it just offsets me, and so I've got to eschew things. I mean, my normal day is everything has to be plumb, square, level, straight.
Right, you're always following
16.
rules.
I'm always following. So when I get out in the shop, that's the last thing I want is, hey, you got to follow these rules. So I'm going to go the opposite of what my normal everyday job is. My whole day is job. Yeah. My whole day is trig and math and calculus and this and that. So I don't want that out there.
First thing you do when you go in your shop is you run with scissors. I bet.
Well, it's not really big enough to run. I kind of turn in circles. It's only like 8 by 10, so I just kind of hold the scissors up and just twirl. And then you get really dizzy and hope you don't fall on them. It's one of those things.
All right, now
I'm
Tim?
usually turning in circles because I set something down and I can't find it.
I do that too. I do that too, and it's more fun with scissors.
That.
It's more fun with scissors, so do that. Like, find something, grab scissors, and then look for it.
Now, Tim, did you get your air compressor to set up your blast cabinet?
That's actually coming tomorrow. That's coming tomorrow.
Shit! Tim's getting serious.
I know.
Oh, damn.
This is I'm trying to think, okay, what do I got to tear all kinds of stuff out.
We're
of
all fucked.
My new shop.
I'm telling you.
I'm coming big.
Yeah.
I'm coming big, you guys.
Yeah.
Big ball.
He's going to have four lamps on his table at Milltown this year.
Well, see, this thing with that metal lathe, Craig sent it to me, and it was on Facebook Marketplace. So I tried to look at it on Facebook Marketplace, but I'm not on Facebook on my phone. I'm on it on my iPad, but the ISO's old. And so I'm just like, you got to download this, and you got to have this app and everything. I'm like, you know what? I don't want it. Forget it. So I finally was like, I was too curious, and it was like the price was right and everything. So I download, get all set up with Facebook. It's like, oh God, now I'm like welded to the dark forces of Meta,
Yeah.
And but now I have control of Facebook Marketplace, and I got to get rid of my. I am gonna get rid of my stand-up blast cabinet, and I'm gonna get a desktop. And
You mean like you
I'll
sit
put
down?
it where my.
Yeah.
I've got one. I've
I
got a
don't know.
benchtop
No,
cabinet. I'm
yeah.
going to get rid
Oh,
of.
you mean?
benchtop.
Oh, I'm sorry.
benchtop.
You mean you're gonna get rid of the one that stands by itself, and you're getting one that sits on a table, and you're still gonna stand?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was so
Yes.
confused. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
you can sit down and
See, I've
sandblast? That
got
sounds
one of those.
amazing. I should be doing that.
I've got one of those. I'm getting
The
rid of
kind
that.
that you put on your knees. You sit in a chair
No.
and you put it on your knees.
Like you're knitting. You're just like,
It comes on a TV dinner stand. A little wobbly.
It's got
It's
got
a
that
bag of
little-
sand and a straw.
yeah.
you can sandblast a pipe in 8 hours.
Yeah, you
Min-
gotta blow it.
minimum.
You gotta blow it yourself. Yeah, you have to blow it
What you
yourself.
do is it's a container full of sand. You drop the stumble in, you just shake it for days.
It's like an etch a sketch.
You get real good at this.
Oh,
It's an
man.
etch a sketch with a straw. That's what it is.
I can see Tim on the couch with a mouthful of silica, blowing it into a straw.
I know. And he just got the vacuum. Come on. Come on, will you?
Oh, man.
Why do you have to do this while we're watching TV?
Man.
Got an air hose running all the way from the shop, across the yard, in the window.
Lord.
Now, see, I'm getting rid of mine. My bench top, I don't like it. I don't like the cabinet. I'm getting
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to get
Okay.
another one, a taller one. I don't like it.
I got one of those barrel blasters from Texas. They make a blasting cabinet out of a 50-gallon drum, and it works great.
Huh.
It was only $400. They came with a gun and everything.
Wow. Now, see, I think my problem is the media I'm using and the gun. It takes a while to blast a pipe.
But it's also humidity too. Actually, I think because when I was, living in North Carolina, blasting pipes took a little bit longer than I thought it should. But here, where there's no humidity, like I'll blast a pipe in,
just
in
flies.
10 minutes. I'm like, good Lord,
Yeah.
I better stop.
I mean, I've got the compressor to push it. It's just not blasting.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins sent me and I'll send it to you, the whole list of everything that he did to set up his. He's an engineer. And, he
For a
has the
minute, I
striped
thought you were,
hat and everything.
Okay. I thought you were getting emails from like Hannibal Lecter or something. I
No,
didn't know what you were-
Castle Briars, right? Castle Briars.
Yeah.
So Briars, yeah.
Yeah.
But what he recommended, of course, you've got a water trap, an oil trap, and then there was a one that has desiccant in it that's a dryer, and then if you put in there too the spotlights,
Yeah.
the hot spotlights, that helps dry it too. And then if you got a vac going,
Yeah.
but
Mine
that's a
don't
big
have the
deal.
reclaim or the dust back on it. I think that's my issue.
Okay.
with some of it.
Yeah.
Oh, mine's got a vacuum. I bought just a cheap like $70 shop vac from Lowe's, but that sucker my gloves blow up like balloons when it's on because they're just sucking that much air out of the.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the problem now is the air is so dry. I have to walk around with one of those grounding straps on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Everything
Otherwise, you
knocks
keep
the ground
zapping.
out of you. Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
if you're sanding anything acrylic or anything. I have a grounding strap on, so I go to walk across the shop, and next thing you know, I'm laying on the floor because.
So
the
when you're
ground is dirt.
so Jim, when you're
Sure.
sandblasting, Jim, you create a lot of static electricity because obviously you're blowing sand everywhere, and so you're standing there blowing sand all inside of a metal cabinet, and your hands are in
you're
it.
not grounded.
It's like
So once you ground yourself,
What if you're
boom.
and if you're leaning on it, any part of your body that's close to it that'll arc. That's where you're getting it.
What's really cool? Do you guys get this?
Snap.
I guess you don't because you don't vacuum. But like, if your vacuum's strong enough, my sand on both sides where I'm sandblasting in the bottom of the cabinet, it's actually boiling. It's shooting up bubbles because it's that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I don't put that out there.
What kind of vacuum do you have?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Your
we got
mom.
it hooked up
You
to
got
our-
it from Planned Parenthood? Did you get it from Planned Parenthood?
You got it hooked up to a 100 horsepower Evan roof.
When they close down Planned Parenthood. Yeah.
You should take a look. I'm going to go and get one. It had really good reviews. It's a dust collection, and hear me out. It's at Harbor Freight. It's the brand is Hercules, but there's a couple of different guys on the YouTube that do like wood tool reviews and stuff, and they put it up against functionally up against Festool's dust collection system. And the only downside is the HEPA filters on this Hercules, they actually take up space in the tub, where the Festool one, their filter fits up inside the top, so you have the whole inside capacity of the tub. But if you put I have this, it's a Cyclone with a container on the bottom of it. So if you put a Cyclone between whatever you've got, between the vacuum source and your tool, the thing that's making the dust, you won't use that tub at all. You get the fine stuff, but the heavy stuff will all go into that container.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's $300 this thing. Where Festool's like, I don't know, $800.
My dust collector does pretty good, but it creates a lot of static electricity. A lot.
So
especially now that the air is dry and you run heat in your shop, and then you're drying the air out more.
What does a grounding belt look like? What does that do?
I mean, I know you've seen them. Like people use them when they work on circuit boards. It's a little like strap fits on your arm, got a piece of metal, and you ground yourself. It's got a little alligator clip on the end of it. You can buy them for like $8 on Amazon.
Yeah, you attach it to like whatever is creating the electricity.
Attach it to metal.
Yeah.
Mine has like a ground plug. I actually put it in a plug. And it's got the ground plug, but it's too plastic for the hot and neutral side of the plug. So it's only using the ground pole. And then an alligator clipped it in. And it's a little piece of metal inside of it that touches your skin. So
it's a lot more comfortable than having your fillings smoking.
Yeah. Or everything you touch, like shooting like a lightning bolt this long. Yeah,
blue flame between your finger
that
and
happens to me everywhere. I mean, it's constant everywhere. The dogs touch me. I touch the tables in the kitchen, the refrigerator. So, I mean, but I've been working with electricity for over 30 years. So, I'm sure it somehow messed with me. So that's probably part of it.
I don't think so. I think you're a perfectly normal human being. Totally.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've been hit by 482. I've been hit by a lot. So
what are you talking about? I have nothing wrong with me at all. I just sometimes get a little ticky now and then.
I'm fine. Yeah. The 277 that held on to me. Yeah. I've actually got a watch that runs backwards that got hit by 277.
Yeah.
Man.
You got a DeLorean.
Well, it
DeLorean that flies.
Yeah, I had a watch on with a metal band and was near 480 and one leg hit it. Knocked me down. The watch runs backwards.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy.
So my journeyman said, smoke a cigarette and then get your ass back to work. So that's what I did.
Nope. Cigarettes are already smoking. They're in my pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to go.
They're smoking themselves.
Get back to work. Yeah, get back to work. Get up in the steel. Yeah.
Yeah. Rich can turn on the microwave just by walking into the room.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I had a neighbor got hit by lightning. He was working on his mower. He was laying out, trying to put the belt on underneath between the mower and the deck.
100%.
And lightning hit a tree next to him.
That only draws lightning in. Mower belts.
Yeah. I told him, you should run to a trailer park. That's what you should have done.
Yeah, you would have been safer. Yeah.
God.
But he was in the hospital. His shoulder looked like hamburger.
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
he was in the hospital, and he's like, he needed to get medical attention, and they weren't asking him, what are your symptoms, or they're like, hey, what was it like? Everybody's so.
Well, yeah, because you get to a higher voltage.
What's it like to get hit by lightning?
Well, see, electricity travels in a straight line. So if your arm is bent, it comes in your fingers, it'll come out your elbow.
Yeah.
and it cooks your bone marrow. It travels through your bone marrow.
Eesh.
Yeah, this guy, it wasn't long after that. He was
God.
dead.
Yeah, the higher the voltage through your bone marrow.
How fast does lightning travel, do you suppose?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
Isn't it the speed of light?
I know it's
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, well, like, and
Fast enough.
it's zigzaggy. Imagine if it was straight.
I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, it's called
Yeah, I mean,
lightning,
you know.
the speed of light.
that was supposed to be a setup for a joke.
Yeah. And
Knuckle
You know,
draggers.
it's
Yeah.
fast enough where you can't get your ass out of the way.
another BFO from Tim, blinding flash of the obvious.
I mean, come on. I mean, your brother would know about it, Tim. I mean,
My brother Alan. I should ask him.
Oh God, no! Don't ask him.
I mean, your brother was an electrician. He should know. It don't take much to stop your heart. Right?
But the joke was imagine if it lightning goes in a zigzag. Imagine if it went straight, how fast it would be. But you guys, tough room, man.
And that was supposed to be a joke.
Tough room.
Oh
I don't
man!
think that would have worked out.
I'm serving up some of my best here, my best dad jokes.
Oh, good Lord. I don't think that would have qualified as a joke.
It's a dad joke, though.
A bad one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Bad dad.
Bad joke.
Oh, so should we get those comments you want to talk about? No, somebody wants to not talk about comments. Somebody is disagreeing. No comments.
I do. Yeah, I do have comments from our.
I can only
Tim and
imagine the comments he would have been reading.
Oh God, no, we can't. I'm
No.
trying to figure out how to put it up in a small enough file to send it to you guys because it's, episode
sure it's
51.
horrible. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
it's-
horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's buried. It's buried.
And of course, I get emails. Hey, could I listen to that episode? No, you can't.
No, you
Because
cannot.
of mis-
Yeah.
I told my
I
wife
get plenty of people.
after that episode, after we filmed that, I told my wife, I said, "Well, this is either going to destroy my career or not do anything to my career. One of the two."
I just figured I was going to have to give a lot of pipes away to correct the PR shit. Like,
Right.
here, everybody gets a free pipe this year. Just,
Because I was thinking, okay, Jim's moving back to Colorado.
yeah. Don't hold it against me. Don't hold it against
Okay.
me,
As soon as we were done, my wife goes, "You're not going to post that, are you?" I said, "Why?" She goes, "You were using some awful language." I said, "Really?"
And you were probably the most polite.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was
You were one of
perfectly
the most-
perfectly
yeah.
fine. So I guess we just
She said, "If you were
agree to
those guys
disagree."
were, if what you were saying was any indication of what they were saying, you can't put that up."
No.
And then when Jim
And you
said
were-
that thing should never see the light of day, I said, "I think you're right."
I think you're right.
We'll just
Yeah.
be a documentary of it'll show up somewhere after we're all dead.
Oh, that'll
on,
be
like,
great.
Discovery Channel.
Oh, I'd
or,
love
yeah,
that.
E!
I would love
E! will
that.
probably put it on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of those networks, Bravo will
Yep.
put it on. Yeah.
There's gonna be some kind of like discovery, like drama documentary about the pipe
Yeah.
community, the pipe makers, and how they're all like.
Who's that guy on Discovery Channel that thinks he's Indiana Jones? Like he'll dig it up. He'll dig it up and put it on there.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
The hit Mysteries of the Unknown or something.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
okay.
What's his name? I
Thinks
can't think
he's
of
the
his
real
name.
Indiana Jones. Whoever he is. Yeah.
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 So
He'll dig it
anyway,
up and put it on
what
air.
are the comments that you had on the good episode? What were those?
So we did. We just posted an episode today, and we got a bunch of comments. So Jeffrey at Life Without a Pipe, Jim sent you info about the only pipe and tobacco shop in Miami. Thanks for another great episode. Well, thank you very much, Jeffrey. And yes, I got your email. I'll give you a call. Unfortunately, I was up on the northeast side of Miami and didn't make it down to the pipe shop, but thank you. Stacking Trucker, I'd like to know your response to the letter that just came out after you recorded this. We're going to get to that in a minute. Trust me, I have some things to say. At Noah's House, thanks for the answers. And yes, I did mean bulk packing for a show, Tim. You got it, though. As far as the STG situation, I think it's par for the course of things. Not one company out there gives a shit about style, character, taste, or flavor. It's all about what can be squeezed from the fruit. I truly believe that they are looking to make as much as they can for a few years, and then just things go. I don't really. I'm reading it verbatim, so I'm not really quite sure where that was
Right,
going.
sure.
There is no pride in what you do anymore, especially in this country on a corporate level. I work for one of the largest companies on the planet that was created by merging smaller companies that were in the same field. Uh, when we were smaller, there was pride in our craft and much more personal. Now it's about budget and bottom line. Need tools or new equipment? We'll see the top tier need a bonus. Well, that's about right. When we were smaller, everyone made a good living from top to bottom. Now it's more of how can we squeeze the bottom to get more to the top. This merger purchase of McBaron and Sutliff seems to be going in the same direction. Sell everything off, get rid of the workers, close everything you can, and that's that. Sorry for the rant, but that's how I see it. I'm going to have some comments on that too, Noah. Tamper Jim. Enjoyed watching your discussion. Hope the fallout from Sutliff McBaron saga isn't too severe. You know, this may sound crazy, but I'd like to find a nice, mild, all-day burly English blend, not a blend that causes fireworks to go off or requires me to take a nap. Something of the long lines of cringe Carter Hall. Hey, Tamper Jim. There's nothing wrong with Carter Hall. I've got a couple of pounds of it. I like
Almost crossed the line there. Yeah, you don't diss the Carter Hall.
Well, diss the Carter Hall. But with higher quality leaf and without the humectant taste. And God knows what else has been added. A slight topping, such as whiskey or rum, is okay, so long as it doesn't take over and doesn't taste like Aunt Irma's dusty hard candy and doesn't leave the bowl filled with goop. If you try to find such a mild burley blazed or burley Virginia blend, plus a bit of Cavendish is okay too, on tobacco reviews with a high rating and without the label aromatic, hope your luck is better than mine. What I'm looking for is either very low in demand or is, for some reason, difficult to achieve because it's sure been hard to find. Watch City Cigars Eureka blend is as close and is better than most, I suppose, but it too is listed as an aromatic, although not anywhere near as topped as the most are. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Thanks. I'll look into that and I'll get back to you. I have some ideas for you. And then at Noah's House comes back again. Oh, on a lighter note, I put out a couple of videos rehabbing a couple of older cast iron skillets. They're great, completely nonstick. Yep. And then Stacking Trucker commented again, saying Tim's mic doesn't work. So,
This son of a gun. I have to make sure every time we log into this platform to make sure that I select the right microphone. And if I don't, all I get is the mic off of the computer. And I didn't do it last time, so that shot is well placed.
yeah,
Well placed, my friend.
Well, I don't really have a comment on the
Now,
whole.
Reid, on the other hand, his microphone's
Oh
great.
yeah,
yeah.
It lights up and everything.
Even the
I
headband.
don't really have a
lights up.
comment on the whole Sutliff McBaron thing because I don't smoke a pipe enough, honestly, to say that I smoke the same tobacco even 1 month to the next. I smoke different tobaccos every single day, and so I don't really have something that I'm like gonna miss because I'm just kind of like I'm just still trying everything. Because honestly, even though I smoked a pipe for 25 years at this point in my life, until I started making pipes, I wasn't really into the whole tobacco. Like I didn't like get into the whole like cellaring tobacco and finding tobacco. I just kind of was, there's some tobacco in a store. I'll go buy that really fast, and I didn't really think about it too much. So yeah, I'm kind of sad that I don't have
Yeah, I'm the same
the
way.
attachment to things like these people do. But I mean,
I smoked
yeah.
Gatlin Burley blends for like 30 years.
I mean, obviously, I know
I went there every year.
I'm really sympathetic for the artisan tobacco blenders, of course, that are not going to be able to do what they need to do now because of this whole thing. That's awful. So,
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let me start with an analogy. Once upon a time, Sears was the largest retailer on earth. And what they did better than everyone else at the start was they got there first with the most. Sears provided everything. You could buy a house. Craftsman cottages were ordered from Sears, and they sent you all the lumber and the plans, and they made it. And then right after World War II, what Sears did better than everybody else was they figured out financing first. You know, our parents, our grandparents would go to Sears, and you can buy this tool, it's X price, or it's $4 a month. And where Sears really made just a huge leap was in the carpeting industry. You know, they would advertise carpet for $2 a month, and then you go into the store and say, well, you know, for $4 a month you can get this carpet, which is twice as good. And they financed, and they were very in tune with their customers. And what happened, the larger they got, they quit caring about the customers, and they sold off their financing division, which became the Discover card. And they just thought, well, people have been buying for Sears so long, they're never going to quit. Well, guess what, Sears? They quit buying. You made some stupid mergers, and now you're gone. You know, Montgomery Ward's was the same way. They were Sears' competitor for a long time, and they went away. Here's the dilemma. When you get into large corporations, and I work for a very large corporation, you start talking about efficiencies, and you start talking about optimization and maximization of resources. And what you're not paying attention to is your customers. And where companies get big is because they're nimble, because you're catering to a wider market. And when you go to airports now and you wave your hand under the paper towel dispenser and you get that little square, because some efficiency expert said, well, look, we can save you money on paper if we have these smaller pieces. And what does everybody do? They swipe twice. And so instead of having just one piece of paper come off, no, now you're wasting more electricity. You've got people taking two pieces instead of one, and you've lost all that efficiency. It looks great on paper, but it doesn't work in reality. And that's the hard part. Back in 1993, the United States went from, 2.2 gallon flushes to 1.4 gallon flushes. And everybody says, oh, you know, we're going to save so much water. And it looks good on paper. But the reality is that the toilets that are out now don't flush as well as the old ones. People are flushing twice. And all the water companies were looking at it going, yeah, this is going to save us water. And they came back and said, yeah, no, it didn't.
I used to go to the bathroom as a kid armed with a plunger and a coat hanger.
Yeah, I was going to say Tim's using a coat hanger.
Yeah, you know, and this is part of it.
Bird wrench.
And you know, Richard, you work with electrical all the time. You get a blueprint and you go out to the job and you look at it and say, yeah, the blueprint looks great, but here at the actual job, you didn't account for this stud wall that they put in. You didn't account for this beam that they put in, and now I've got to run around it.
I mean, the engineers don't even do the math anymore. They want you to engineer it.
Yeah.
So, I have to do the engineering.
So, when you look at STG and what they're doing, and they said all the corporate things that you would expect them to do to maximize our production and efficiencies, and we don't do batches in less than 1,000 pounds. And okay, well, what kept Sutliff in business and what kept them running all these times was they provided smaller batch products, and that's what their market was. And when Mac Baren bought Sutliff, you know, they wanted an introduction into the American market. They wanted to have their own distribution point. TobaccoPipes.com is a part of Sutliff, and I don't know what's going to happen with them. I assume that STG will keep that going because that's obviously simple e-commerce. But as far as what they did to the blends, so if you look at Mac Baren's portfolio of blends that they make, Amphora, if anybody likes Amphora, Amphora's gone. There's a line of backwoods pipe tobacco, which I've never seen. I think that's just a European product. It's gone. Amsterdamer, which is a European line of tobacco, I've never seen it here, is gone. Choice is gone. HH blends from Mac Baren are gone. 7Cs from Mac Baren is gone. And Holger Dansk is gone. Completely eliminated those products. And from the Sutliff line of 900 88 blends that they make, they're going to keep 4. Cream brulee, rum and maple, black cordial, and vanilla custard and cream. That's all that survives of
Who
Sutliff.
smokes that stuff? Ugh.
And none of those, and I have Sutliff products in my rack, and I used some of Sutliff's blenders. And because of it doesn't meet that, selling more than 1,000 pounds per year, it didn't meet the threshold. And these were apparently the 4 that did, and what they kept. Now, from the rest of Mac Baren, if you like St. Bruno Ready Rub, 50-gram pouches, those continue on. Capstan Original Flake, 50-gram tins, those continue on. St. Bruno Flake, 50-gram tins, that continues on. 3 Nuns, 50-gram tins, that continues on. So the rest of the Capstan line, gone. Just gone. Three Nuns is still going to be available in a 50-gram tin. And then Scottish Mixture, the Mac Baren Scottish Mixture in the 3.5 ounce tin continues on. Virginia number 1 in the 3.5 ounce tin continues on. Virginia Flake 1.75 ounce tin continues on, and the Navy Flake 3.05 ounce tin continues on, and then Vanilla Cream Loose Cut 3.5 tin continues on. And they also, Mac Baren also is making Planta Presbyterian Mixture, and Presbyterian Mixture will continue on. And I understand the corporate philosophy behind this, and I understand the need to maximize efficiencies, and I get all of that. But when you're talking about the pipe community, this is an eclectic, customer-centric world that we live in. When you look at all the pipe makers now, I think there are more artisan pipe makers out today than there were 20 years ago. And I think some of the art and creativity that's coming out now is breathtaking. And for them to absolutely do away with their blender series, to basically just erase Sutliff completely, is mind-boggling to me. I don't understand the logic behind it. I understand the math and I understand the spreadsheet, but this is one of those moves that feels eerily similar to Sears. You're one of the largest tobacco companies in the world now. They openly stated in a meeting that their focus going forward is going to be on cigar production and their cigar line. Okay, well then, why did you buy Pipe Tobacco Company? A pipe tobacco, and add it to your portfolio and do away with it. How does that $75 million investment in buying Mac Baren equate to a reasonable return on investment?
Well,
I get it.
It's competition. They're buying their competition and they're gutting it.
Yeah, that's right. And
they're probably hoping to sell the names or sell something else down the line.
It makes sense. It makes sense in a cutthroat corporate world. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Honestly, it's like, buy your competition, gut it, and then move on. Yeah, we'll make cigars.
Because they did. I mean, let's face it. Mac Baren was a good medium-priced line of tobacco. They weren't top of the scale. They weren't esoterica ridiculous for pricing. But they produced a lot of blends that people liked, and they didn't survive the cut. Okay, I get it. The reason I got into pipe tobacco blending is I got mad at Mac Baren. They discontinued Acadian Perique, which is absolutely one of my favorite tobaccos. And that's why I started blending, because they did away with it. Mm-hmm. And when you look at what Sutliff has done, since 1859, it was being nimble. It was being responsive to customers. It was being what the pipe tobacco community needed. There are a lot of guys out there that like to smoke the match blends because you can get a pound of it for 38 or 39 bucks. And now that's missing from the marketplace. And I'm reticent to say that this is a good thing. In fact, I think it's the exact opposite. I really see just a complete lack of foresight by a very large company, because they got the accountants together, they looked at the spreadsheets, and they said, we're going to do this.
Are people saying it's a good thing?
There are some people saying, well, it's not that big of a deal.
For the shareholders, probably.
Yeah.
They're thinking for the shareholders.
Yeah.
I I'm hopeful that number one, there's value in the recipes, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of the bulk tobaccos that you were using in your blends, Jim, were they were topped in some way, or there's something that they did to make that bulk tobacco, different, and one that you would want to have as a component in your blends. And that recipe, if you will, that still exists, and there's value to it. And there are other blenders, larger blenders out there. My hope is that they're gonna look into that the dead part of the portfolio and say, hey, let's see if we can wring some money out of this and see if there's somewhere in the market that wants these recipes.
Doesn't this not only kill like?
They'll be able to.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
Be able to revive
Yeah.
them. No, I was just saying maybe some will be revived.
Doesn't this not only kill like the blends that pipe makers love, but doesn't it also kill like a ton of livelihoods for farmers making all this tobacco?
Well, tobacco sales and tobacco farming continues to increase, and China is the main market for it. If you look at what the Cubans and Nicaraguans are producing, I mean, China is buying more cigars than ever before, which is why there's been such a spike in pricing, because everything that they make.
I guess the tobacco farmers, they can still use this tobacco for cigars, obviously. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And, the one thing that's come up a couple of times is the deeming regulations by the FDA. They're talking about starting to enforce that you have to submit your blend to FDA testing, which is why, as you saw more and more of those limited edition blends, because they came under the deeming amount, that's okay, we're just going to make this and it's going to be a limited edition. And it was great because it brought a lot of interest out. People bought it up. It's a great spike in sales. It didn't. But now that the FDA is talking about, okay, if you bring out a blend, you're going to have to submit it for testing. And the testing costs, from what I have seen and heard, is somewhere between $100K and $250K per blend, which will effectively drive every single new blender out of the market, because who's spending $100K to run a blend through the FDA, and that's why I'm going to start back up on the Emerson Southern Forged channel. Well, I'm going to walk through blending, teach you guys how to blend it at home, make your own blends, do your own thing, because if they start forcing these regulations onto the pipe tobacco companies, I'm fearful of where it goes. And two states in particular, have the non-flavoring rule. California's one, and New York is the other. And if you start taking, well, you can't add any flavors to anything, that eliminates about 98% of what's on the market. Whether it's topped or whether it's cased, they're typically adding a flavor to it, which means it doesn't qualify under those rules. It doesn't meet the criteria of a non-additive flavor to it. And where do you go from there?
I wonder if when you first day on the job as a regulator of any stripe, they give you the job description, and the first item on the job description is suck every bit of life and enjoyment and delight out of everything you touch.
You are going to be a fun succubus. That's what you do.
Man,
it's a job requirement.
It's like TSA employees. Like those people are the lowest of the low of our society. Like, Jesus. Wow.
Hey, did you see the guy? The guy. It was a video on Instagram. A guy had a T-shirt on. It had stick figures, and there's one guy standing there with his arms out, and another guy kneeling down in front of him. It said, "It's not gay if it's TSA." and the TSA guy is giving him the shakedown.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I got to get one of those shirts for the next time I travel.
Exactly.
So I travel, and I've talked about this traveling with pipes. If I try to carry pipe tobacco through TSA, I check it in my bag because every
Yeah.
time. Oh, is this an explosive? Well, no, it's pipe tobacco, but I mean, I suppose if I wrapped it in enough cordite, I could get it to explode. But
Well, if you
Oh,
duct
you said
tape it to
cordite.
the inside of your
They handcuff
thigh,
you.
Yep.
yeah,
So I'm
I can
flying
say it on here.
Southwest from here to the Muletown show, and I've never flown Southwest, but I've heard you can get two checked bags as a passenger.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna take two checked bags, but still, that's amazing.
You should,
Yeah.
just for the hell of it.
Why not?
just take one empty one.
Yeah.
One empty one.
Why not?
One full one. Yeah.
Take dirty laundry with you. Anything.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Just everything. Yeah,
Just the headphones. Just a suitcase with those headphones in it.
exactly.
Like pack on foam rubber,
Yep.
cut the foam rubber. Yeah.
Take them everywhere.
Them things are precious. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we
Handcuff
going to
it to your
record
wrist.
an episode from Muletown? Do we dare do that?
Without Tim,
I
maybe.
mean, it'll be fun.
Well, I'm driving down. I could take the laptop and the trappings. We could give it a try.
Okay, because I believe the last time we did a pipe show, it was the first time we had Reid on, and the demon of sobriety was slayed long before we got to on air.
Oh, that was great.
I know there was quite a bit of it
What a
where
good
Reid,
night.
Reid was just sitting there by himself staring
That was
at
fun.
the computer. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Tim
what
goes,
happened?
that's it,
Yeah.
and just walked up.
I don't know where he went.
Oh, jeez.
You just hear Tim yelling down the hallway, and Reid was staring at the
Yep.
computer.
I was just like, hey guys.
Oh, this is a nice machine.
Yeah, this thing's nice.
I like
Yep.
this. From Dell. That's a good brand.
Kelsey was mixing the drinks.
It was a good night. It was
Yeah.
a really
She
good
makes
night.
a good. What do we have? Manhattans?
No, old fashions.
Old fashions?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember they were good.
Yeah. We make a mean old fashioned every single night.
You still, you actually remembered?
Well, I remember drinking them and that they were good.
We make our old. We do a triple old fashioned. We have 3 shots of rye whiskey and 1 shot of Grand Marnier. We used to use Grand Marnier, but now we use different orange cognac. But yeah, so it's got 4 shots of alcohol and bitters in one old fashioned.
When then Steve treated us to one of those old timey cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? And we were
those
standing
are
out there,
awesome.
and I'm dragging
Oh,
on this
those are
cigarette, and I've got a lot of liquor in me, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I'm kind of dizzy. Smoking that cigarette.
I'm not feeling so good.
It just
It's just like, yeah.
launch
Yep.
your dinner.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a good.
gosh.
Time. That was a good time. But Jim,
That was a great time.
you may be there, and wouldn't that be fun if we could?
You're going
You
to
know,
be
we
there
could
too,
have-
Jim?
I am so between the 4 of us and everybody else that's watching, I am trying to schedule a training event in Tennessee for that week.
It's a secret.
They don't really
Very
need
careful.
training. You're just like, there's no training necessary. You're just going to try to schedule a training event and be like, hey guys, we're going to train.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah,
I'm hunting
We've been-
wabbits.
yeah.
I'm hunting
we've been doing this for
wabbits.
40 years, Jim. We don't need a training. But yeah, whatever, we're going to train. All right.
yeah, no, you're getting a training class.
You're training.
And I care not what you say. I will be there to make sure that the training goes off without a hitch.
Exactly.
That is my job.
At that show,
Oh, well.
if you hear it once, you're going to hear it 1,000 times. I thought you was taller.
Yeah.
Do you get
You
that?
know,
Do you get that a lot, Tim?
Well, I guess I'll Google how much is bail.
Well,
We
Mike
all know how much
Nogay,
money
first time
to
I
have,
met
yeah.
him, at the Ohio show, he comes up to me and he says, I didn't think you were that chubby. Hey, you're a lot chubbier than I thought you were.
Screw you,
I'm
man.
like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I thought you had hair.
Oh,
And fuck you
man.
very
You
much.
had a dicky do.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's always great when somebody walks up and goes, I didn't know you had a dicky
And you're a
do.
lot smarter than you look.
Yeah.
I thought you were smarter.
Yeah.
No. I like to think of myself as hovering around the room temperature IQ level. So yeah, we're fine.
I got to know Steve Norris. You guys asked actually in the group chat earlier today if anybody knew Steve Norris well enough. But I do know Steve Norris well enough, but I'm not really going to need any more Briar, so I didn't really think that I should get in on that whole conversation. But anyway, I got to know Steve Norris really well in Vegas in not last year, but year before last, 2023. And then we actually roomed together at the Muletown show last year. And
Yeah, who didn't room there?
yeah, no kidding, right? It was ridiculous.
cow.
It was.
I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't room.
No.
yeah, Steve and I know each other pretty well. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat to know the person who's
good.
giving you all your supplies and everything. So,
Yeah, right. He's a busy man.
and he has.
I have bought rod stock from Steve on multiple occasions and promptly turned it into oblong shapes and drilled them poorly. And I discovered that I'm going to stick to making tobacco because that's what I like to do. And I don't have to. In fact, I sent Tim a box of rod stock. Before I destroy all this, make something with it.
Yeah, you're supposed to make stems, not balloon animals out of it. Yeah. Yeah. It's not for balloon animals.
And I thought I was being really smart. I got these like 8-inch long, 8-inch drill bits, and I thought, these are going to be perfect. And what they're perfect for is making a 30-degree angle.
I made a bike out of this acrylic. Look. It looks like a giraffe. Look.
No,
Look.
what it would do, would go about halfway, and then it would make a 30-degree turn to the side.
Right.
And I did that about 4 times, and there is a blue cloud of profanity still hanging over Moore, South Carolina.
Man.
My wife came out and she goes, "You going to be okay?" No, I'd go back in the house. This is going to be
I don't
ugly.
think I'm going to recover from this.
I'm making stems with rush holes in them.
Yeah. Look, I made a
stem with
whistle,
rush hole.
honey.
Yeah, look.
A whistle. It's a carburetor.
So,
Tim's out there making slide whistles with it.
I was gonna comment, Rich. Well, I guess he uses a metal lathe to shape them, but I was gonna say that Walter Hedinger, the pipe maker, old pipe maker, like he's been making pipes forever.
Not off the top of my head.
He Walter, right? Tim, Walter Hedinger. He's at every Ohio pipe show.
I've
if you
probably
pointed
met
him out
him.
to me,
I'm
I
not
would-
picturing
Yeah.
him.
Anyway, he's been
Yeah.
making pipes with his drill press for like 40 years now or something ridiculous.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No sense in changing that.
I guess not.
Yeah.
So,
That's my next one, though. I want to know how to make a pipe where the stem is a whistle. So when you inhale it, it makes like that, that whirl noise.
you just don't.
I wanna be able
you
to
don't
do
slot
that.
it out really well. You skip the whole
Yeah,
slotting
I
out
wanted
part.
to make that noise. Yes, I wanted to make that
Mhm.
noise, like that slide whistle noise when you.
Trick is-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just got to figure that out.
Yep. You should add that as a feature to
I
the,
thought you were
to the
gonna
side
make
of the stem. Just add a little thing you can move.
Yeah. Like a trombone pipe.
Totally.
I mean, I've made a telescoping stem, so maybe if I add like I could probably do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Or
I'll see if I
make
can
one
do
that's a
that.
kaleidoscope,
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like California on fire.
Yeah.
Wonder what that looks like. Oh,
Oh, just turn on the
we
news.
all know now.
Oh, cool.
We shouldn't laugh about that.
Oh,
Oh,
why not?
whatever. Go ahead.
Why not?
You only live once. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Everything's funny with the proper
That's right.
perspective. So.
Right. I'm not above laughing
Yeah.
at somebody's misfortune.
You know what's crazy though?
Yeah.
I saw a picture of.
Everybody laughs at mine.
I saw the picture of a neighborhood in the Palisades where all the houses had just completely been
Yeah.
decimated with the value
Yeah.
of each house that got destroyed. It was like, 6 million, 5 million, 2 million, 3 million. People were saying though that like that's just the land. Like the house itself is
Yeah.
worth nothing. The land it's on is worth $3 million. That's it.
Mhm.
So
Well, I
Wow.
was thinking today about I don't know what insurance companies have exposure there, but man,
Well, that's a
expect your premiums to go
well,
up.
yeah, but that's the
Don't
thing.
worry about it.
Everywhere.
That's
You'll
the
see
thing,
it.
though. It's
You'll
like
see it
the
in your
insurance
bill.
company isn't going to be paying that much because the fact that the thing that's just staying there is the land. The house itself is not that much money to rebuild. It's just the land itself. The land is what's expensive. So,
But you'll see the cost in your premium. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they everybody. It's like one person's bad, everybody gets a whipping.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at home as a kid.
yeah.
I don't know which one of you is
I didn't say
responsible
it.
for this,
Yeah, I
but
didn't
you're
say
all
it, but
getting
why
it.
did I get punched?
My mom.
Good job,
my-
Jimmy.
so-
you broke the neighbor's
so
window.
my dad-
Now we're all going to get our.
So my
asses
dad's
whipped.
my dad's one of 16 children. Okay, all from the same mom and dad, and so my dad was an uncle. Like
Jeez.
my dad was an uncle.
What
like,
is your last name? Duggar? Good Lord, it's a
Robertson.
So now
Man.
we know who's the real Amish here.
So my
Yeah,
dad's
it's-
mom,
yeah.
she worked at a cotton mill her whole life and had 16 children, and so in the back of the car she would just start swinging her arm back and forth to slap the kids, no matter who was doing something, just slapping all the kids in the back seat.
Yeah.
It's all of them. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's me. I didn't say it. Why did I get punched in the mouth? Yeah.
Well, you swing a dead cat there, you hit 10. You know,
Yeah.
16 kids.
Yeah.
Oh my
Good
God!
Lord.
I mean, did she even have contractions after the 8th one? It's just like, oh, it just fell
Well,
out. Okay,
16 are
it's
the
not,
ones
It's
that-
a clown. Yeah.
16 are the ones that lived. So I think she had 18
Yeah.
total, but there was 2 that didn't
God.
make it, basically.
And they drove a little Shriner's car around. Did they drive around in a Shriner's car?
Well, my dad's father, my grandfather, was
Pile out of a Shriner's
Yeah, right.
car.
What is it?
Like, my God, where's
Just
is
keep
there an
coming
end to
out.
this?
my dad's
Yeah.
father was born in 1890. My grandfather, my dad's side, was born in 1890.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And apparently
crazy.
they were fertile on an epic kind of level.
No, you know what it is? They're Scottish. He wouldn't spring the $5 for the
They were
rubbers.
poor.
Yeah.
They're poor, and his father was angry. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
What's the difference between your grandfather and my couch? My couch pulls out. So
It pulls out into a
Oh
sleeper.
man,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
man.
nice.
Okay, we're not getting started on jokes tonight.
No, man.
Oh, gosh.
We're going to go down the wrong road. We're getting
Yeah.
ready to go down the
Oh
wrong
man.
road.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's all
Everybody,
stand and
we're going
look
down
at
the
the
road.
road signs for a minute. Yeah, yeah. Let's all look at the road signs for a minute and see which direction we're going here.
Oh my gosh. What's even crazier is my
That's
dad.
pretty good.
My dad is 78 now,
There's something crazier than that?
and he was.
All right, go
My
ahead.
dad was 78. He's 78 right now. He's the second youngest child, and he's 78 right now.
Okay.
Well, when he was 5, the oldest was like 32.
Yeah, or older. Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
Jeez.
Yeah. Crazy. Can't even imagine.
It's like the old couple that go to the attorney. They're like both 90. And they're sitting there and they say to the lawyer, we want to get a divorce. He goes, holy shit. Waited a little long, didn't you? Now we wanted to wait till the kids were dead.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
I'm staying out of the joke realm this go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have any ready for primetime jokes.
No, I do not. I do not. No,
No.
no. I have the ones that get me banned from places.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jim fired from his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Hey,
get
Jim, we
in
heard your
HR
latest
trouble.
podcast, and you're going to need to come visit with HR.
Yeah, you got a box? You're going to need
You're
a
going to
box.
need a box.
Oh, go ahead and grab that family photo on your desk. You're going to need to bring that with you.
Yeah.
You can't leave that there.
Yeah.
No company property.
Yeah.
Leave the stapler.
We're going to send you to Texas. It's a one-trip ticket. There's no round trip.
I didn't.
Your next
a
business trip is a
firing
one-way
squad.
ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll actually be in San Antonio next week, and then Gulfport, Mississippi. So if y'all are watching this and
Wow.
know of a good tobacco shop in San Antonio or Gulfport, Mississippi, holler at me. I'm trying, as I travel around, I'm trying to patronize every local pipe shop that I possibly can, just because I'm now mad at SDG. So I'm going to support independence as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do wonder whether or not selling, like, Tim had a good point about how the recipes are worth something. And, like, why aren't they selling those recipes to, like, local tobacco shops?
Because of the deeming so when you really start to look at this from a business standpoint, so now they have 988 recipes, and any of them that were produced for before 2017 are exempt from the deeming regulations. So 2017, everything after 2017 has to go through the testing process. Everything before that, so they basically probably have 800, 900 blends that were produced before that cutoff date. So those are still viable blends. And if they were really nimble and smart, they would do small batch releases of them and take a look. When you look at their list, yeah, we understand that some of these aren't great sellers. But what they'll do is they'll produce, 1,000 or 2,000 pounds and however many tins, so you're getting 8 tins out of a pound, 2 ounce, and you make 8,000 tins, you put it out in the marketplace. You get that, the FOMO, which is, I don't think I've ever seen a community where FOMO, the fear of missing out, is stronger than in the pipe community.
Yeah, man. Big time.
Every time there's one of those limited edition releases, those things sell out. Like Country Squire did a great job the other day with Dark Holler. They sold out of that in 4 hours. And did a fantastic job with it. And congrats to JD and Quinn. That was well done. But that's what if they're really smart, they're going to do that, or they're going to sell the blend to somebody else and let them make them. But who's going to? C&D's not going to buy them. Who's left?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy the blend? Who's going to pay? Well, let's put it this way: who's going to pay STG's price for those blends?
Yeah, I guess they'd probably be worth or be a lot more expensive than most local brick and mortar pipe shops or tobacco shops could afford, probably. So.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a shame because this affects places like McCraney's. It probably affects Gatlin Burley. It probably affects Watch City. LJ Peretti came out and said, no, it doesn't affect us at all because we didn't use it. But there are all these little pipe shops
Seattle
everywhere
Pipe Club.
Seattle Pipe Club. You start to look at who it affects and how much it affects them, and like Missouri Meerschaum's entire line of tobacco went away, and that's heartbreaking to me. It's not that I have any great affinity, but I just hate when choices go away, especially with Europe hates tobacco. In the UK right now you can't even smoke outside, and I'm sure that will cross over into all of Europe at some point as well. And it's like, okay, fine, you hate tobacco, we get it. Australia's, they're lunatics about it too. Pipe tobacco is,
but they want to sell into China. That's their move.
Yeah,
and they want to eliminate any competition that would interfere with that. Then.
Well, what's funny is I was actually overseas and I was living in Southeast Asia for a couple of years, and I totally missed the entire McClellan thing that happened while I was there. I came back to the States and I was like, where's all the McClellan? Where's the Frog Mortons? Where's everything? And everybody was like, oh, that's gone. And I was like, when? So, yeah, that same thing. Yeah.
Like you're on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And McClellan still reverberates today.
Yeah.
They're and this is why I tell everybody that asks, if you find one you like, buy as much of it as you can get, because now more than ever, there's a chance of it disappearing. And I just went through Sutliff on smoking pipes and cigars, and there's not much left at either one of those places. It's
I bought
just kinda gone.
some.
Yeah.
I bought some stuff because I just never really tried a lot of their stuff, and so I bought some HH Latakia flake. I bought.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got that in my cellar. I love that stuff.
Okay, good. I bought 2 tins of
Yeah.
that,
I got a bunch of that
and I
too.
bought 2 tins of Capstan Gold ready rubbed, just in case. And I got 2 tins of Saddle Pipe Club's bourbon barrel aged plum pudding, and then I got a tin of McBaron's Danish blend, which I never had before. So I gave that a shot. So yeah, I bought some stuff just in case, because yeah,
So,
You'll
know,
start
and-
seeing it at the shows, though, really marked
Yeah.
up, I'm sure. Because somebody
Yeah,
bought
right,
their limit.
right.
Yeah, somebody bought their
Sure.
limit and thinks they can sell it for $300 a tin.
yeah,
yeah, I've got a couple of pounds of Bold Kentucky in my cellar. Got a couple of pounds of Latakia flake, plum cake. Their navy blend. I've got I think 3 or 4 pounds of that. And it's it's unfortunate that they're going away. I get the corporate thought process on it. I don't particularly care for it though, because it doesn't make STG nimble, and they're certainly not listening to the average pipe smoker in any way, shape, or form. That's okay. It's their money. You do what you want. But we saw what happened to Sears. We saw what happened to Montgomery Ward. We see what happens to retailers that quit listening to the public. So
I heard some rumblings or some rumoring that that's maybe possible that the HH line could be picked up by Peterson.
well,
That's why.
no, that's not true. Peterson is made by STG.
So Peterson's going away?
No, Peterson is fine. Peterson continues on because Peterson's been made by STG since. Well, I bounced around it a couple of times. So Escudo, Peterson blends. STG makes a variety of different products, and obviously they sell enough of those to make it worthwhile. So,
Gotcha.
is what it is. You just nod and smile, and on to the next thing. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, Tim, I think we've reached that hour 36 mark. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you all for coming. Rich, Reid, it was fantastic to have you on. We absolutely loved it.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
We were good this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we were.
We tried.
Well behaved.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, all.